Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Hello world. Welcome to Shooting It Raw. In this week's episode, we're going to visit our good friend Kim McCoy. Kim shared his passion for protecting and saving and really raising awareness about companion animals and the law. So listen in, join us. And I hope you guys all had a fantastic holiday, are still having a great holiday, and are about to welcome a fantastic new year. Thank you and enjoy.
I think photography is art to me. It's a pure form of art. You're looking at something that everyone else can see, but to you it may be something beautiful, whereas someone else may just think, oh, it's anything else. So it's incredible just to see how people view the world, and through the magic of photography and the publishing of a photo, you can see different points of view and different perspectives. I mean, take for instance, you can take a photo of a sunset and it may be a beautiful sunset, and other people may go, oh, actually it's very polluted, very cloudy. I've seen this 100 times before, but to others that's possibly the most beautiful thing in the day. So I think it's a beautiful art form, and it's a great way just to put yourself in someone else's shoes and look at the world through their eyes.
Kim McCoy, welcome to the podcast. I'm happy to have you on.
Thank you very much.
You sent 4 photos, and what I love is just getting people's, like you said, everybody has a different perspective, and everybody has a different kind of approach and all this stuff. And in a previous life, I used to do advertising.
Okay.
And there's this one book called, what's it called? Something about killing advertising, or something, cutthroat advertising, or something. And the idea being that an ad captures your attention when it's a bit bent. This idea of bent. It makes you kind of stop and go, oh, that's kind of different.
Yeah.
So I don't know you. I was introduced to you. Happy accident. Really cool. You send me these photographs, and you're delightfully bent.
I've been called a lot worse, I think.
Delightfully bent, man.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's just dive into the first photo. Okay, so it's an Asian elephant.
Yep.
It's really close portrait. And you know what you're doing because the eye is super sharp in focus. It's photographed with what looks like a DSLR. I mean, what kind of camera are you using?
That was iPhone.
iPhone? No way. It's like the focus is exactly where it needs to be. So in the image, so it's essentially all you see is the top of the forehead of an Asian elephant, and how the Asian elephant's, the skin goes black and it dimples into this kind of orangey cream. You see the wrinkles around the eyes, the socket, I guess, the bone structure holding on. It almost looks wet. It almost looks post washing, if you've been to a place to wash the elephants. I think this is the second Asian elephant in the Shooting It Raw gallery.
Okay.
So, yeah. So really powerful. So why this image, and what?
So my fiance, soon to be wife, went to Koh Samui about 2 years ago, and we were there for a friend's wedding, which it's a different story, but we both got food poisoning the night before, so we didn't actually make it to the wedding.
No.
But we went all the way to Koh Samui. But the day before the wedding and before the nasty incident.
And that's when you knew that you wanted to marry this woman.
Absolutely. The outdoor single bathroom shared between 2 hot summer Thailand. It was romantic.
It's where hearts are made and broken. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, look, we had been looking up what to do on Koh Samui. I'd been there previously for a very short duration. My fiance hadn't. We both love animals. And so we thought, why don't we go see some elephants? And, previously I had I knew about wildlife tourism, but I didn't know about why it was bad and the sort of evil behind these tourist traps. So this place is, I think it's called Koh Samui Elephant Sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
So their philosophy is to rehabilitate and rescue elephants that have been in, elephant riding, amusement parks, logging, things like that. They buy the elephants off the people and they rehome them in these sanctuaries so they can live a fruitful and sort of a normal life, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So we went along and it was incredible because we'd never seen elephants before. Both of us are from New Zealand. I mean, we have sheep, we have cows. That's really about it. So seeing these incredible animals was quite astonishing. And their philosophy is you can go around with a trainer and they will introduce you to the different elephants there, and you can feed them bananas. I think you can very gently touch them, but you shouldn't, of course, too much. And it was just incredible. And to me, why I took this photo in particular was, to me, looking at that elephant and the eye of that elephant particularly, it looked like it had seen some shit.
Yeah.
It had been through a lot in its life. And to me, it felt pain.
Okay.
And I felt pain behind those eyes. A lifetime of slavery, essentially.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to capture that. And I wanted to remember that wild animals are here with us.
Mm-hmm.
And although a lot of them are exploited, a lot of them are used in wildlife trade and things like that, there are really good sanctuaries and organizations that do try and save and protect these animals.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a picture that invokes different emotions. You can look at it and think, wow, it's really sad. You can see the pain behind those eyes. But then, is it also hopeful? I mean, it's in a better place. Do you feel like it's going to live a fuller life because it is where it is now? So to me, it's a powerful image. And
yeah, for sure. I mean, as a viewer who doesn't know the backstory, elephants are, when you've been around them and you've seen them and you interacted with them, I can see what you mean to have this large animal look at you.
Yeah.
And we really, as human animals, we really look at each other's eyes for cues and everything. And I don't know. It's a very powerful image that definitely evokes a lot of emotion. And as you're telling the story, I can see it on your face as well. So I'm just like, okay, well, here's a man who's really, who really cares.
Yeah.
Right? And I can, so in my day job, right now we're in your office.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
No, my pleasure.
Looking out the window, I can see just some towers and a bit of the Hong Kong hillside in the back. I understand this is a newly decorated office. It's very efficient, very nice. It's really cold with the aircon. That's because I'm a wimp. And so in my day job, we talk about service leadership, right? So a firm like this is a service. In a way, you don't make anything. You're essentially transacting ideas, right? Yep. But it's that's what service is. Service is connection between people. And right now, you and I are kind of exchanging and connecting. And what we say is what really shapes the color or the quality of your service is who you are, right? So your character, your competence, for example, whether or not you can do what people hire you to do, but your character and care, right? So care is a big part of service. And, I've done my MBA, and I know that in MBA schools, they don't talk about character or care. And I love the fact that I'm here. This is full on. This is Admiralty in Hong Kong. It doesn't get more corporate than this.
Of course.
And this is a nice corporate space. And what are we doing? We're talking about elephants and caring about elephants. It's fuzzy and touching,
Yeah. And I think that's sort of who I am as a person, in both professional and my personal life. I mean, I'm all about animals, and and you'll see the photos that I sent through are all animal centric.
Yeah.
And I'm a barrister by trade. I do criminal law, I do civil law, I do public law, but it's animal law that I love. And it's a really niche area of the law because it's not really a set of rules or standards. You're pulling from different facets of the law. You're doing, different rules and different principles, and using that to, in a way, promote or advocate for animals. And that's what I want to do. I've had a lot of people ask me, Kim, why are you doing this? I mean, does it make money?
Yeah.
And the answer is no, it doesn't make money, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I want to do more of it.
Wow.
So how this all came about was, COVID.
Yeah.
COVID-19. This was a silver lining.
Is that still happening?
I think it's COVID 20 XXX now.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with COVID, we had the suspension of the courts and things like that. So I was sitting there going, wow, what should I do with my life? I love my job. I love advocating. I love standing up in court and speaking on behalf of my clients. I love arguing. I'm not very good at it, especially not against my fiance. But I like it. So with the closure of courts, I was sort of in this limbo. I was thinking, what on earth should I do? So I drew upon, what is it that I like? What do I love in this life? And you have to love your job. So I love what I do, but I also love animals. So I thought, I'll just put them together and see where that goes. And so far, so good.
By echo, I was introduced to you through Andrea, right?
Yeah.
And Andrea's with the Hong Kong Shark Foundation. And during the financial crisis of 2008, 2009, it was kind of like the COVID where my revenue went down 90%. And so I was like, okay, well, I've got this time. What am I going to do? And so I started Shark Rescue.
Yeah.
So I understand that, okay, COVID happens and you're sitting there going, okay, well, what do I care about? So what is, you came from New Zealand. Where in New Zealand?
I'm from Christchurch.
Okay.
Yeah, Christchurch.
Never been.
It's a beautiful place in the world. It's small, it's quaint. It's very far away from anything. So,
I've been to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And my main impression when I left there was, why would anybody leave here? It's amazing. And I understand the work and the same thing why I left Montreal. What about growing up in Christchurch made you so connected to animals?
I think we've always, as a family, had pets as we grew up. So my father loved animals. My mother, she's Hong Kong Chinese. He's a New Zealand Kiwi. So she was very sort of apprehensive. I don't want animals because things will get dirty and then I'll have to clean. Whereas my father was quite the opposite. All living creatures come inside.
Nice.
So I grew up with animals, and as we got older, we moved to different places, and we moved to a farm. So the place we have in Christchurch, it's a farm.
Wow.
But it's not your sort of 1,000-acre farm. It's a small.
Like a hobby farm.
It's a hobby farm. We have one sheep.
Okay.
One.
Is it? Okay, one sheep, yeah.
We have.
Isn't that technically a ship?
Yeah, I've never actually. I think it's a shap. Yeah,
I don't know.
It's our neighbours have a sheep farm, and this sheep didn't want to be part of this.
Just screw you! I'm going next door.
Yeah, it's like, well, grass is always greener. I'm going, and
nice.
Yeah. So we have one sheep.
Cool.
We have peacocks.
Nice.
They're beautiful.
Super loud and annoying.
Super loud and annoying.
Yeah.
Make a mess.
Yeah.
And we have, we've had cats, we've had dogs, we've had rabbits. So it's just growing up with animals. And I guess that's just translated from being young to where I am now. And it's just instilled in me. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's move on to the next image because I know what's coming up. Again, excellent photograph. Again, with your phone?
All with my phone, I think.
Dude, these are awesome. These are great photographs. Okay, so in it are two cats being cute because they're lying down next to each other. I would guess this was photographed in the winter.
Yes, yes, I think you'd be right.
Because generally speaking, cats are a lot more social with each other and closer to each other when it's cold. So in Hong Kong winters, it's kind of clammy and whatever. So cats tend to sleep with each other or with a dog or whoever's around. On the sofa, they're just sort of you're a good photographer.
Thank you.
These are excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the two cats are basically looking at the photographer with these really neutral sort of expressions. And okay, why do you feel this is representative for you?
Well, these are our two cats. The orange one, his name's Harry. The grey one, her name's Alien.
Okay.
And Alien has huge bug eyes. She's crazy. She's full of life. She'll, run around the flat 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Whereas Harry's the complete opposite. He's docile. He's scared of everything. He's scared of his own shadow. Mm-hmm. He came from New Zealand, actually.
Oh, wow.
So they're rescue cats. He's a rescue cat from New Zealand, the SPCA there. He hated being outside.
Okay.
Just terrified.
Which in New Zealand, I would imagine, is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, you mean? Like for
exactly.
local animal
Exactly. So living on a farm, you'd think, grass, trees, yeah, go for it. But he would sit at the front door and I thought, where in the world could I take this cat where he'd never have to go outside?
Wanchai.
Yeah, exactly. So he lives in Wanchai and he loves it. He thrives.
Awesome.
But he's a big boy. He's, I think, 7.5 kilos.
Wow.
He's a big cat.
Wow. That is, you don't see that in the photo. But
no.
Yeah, he's a big cat.
Yeah.
Is that like a kind of what cats look like in New Zealand? Is that like a kind of
I think so.
It's a beautiful.
Yeah, they're built big. So why I like this photo is animals are family to me, and I care about them deeply. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we do too many things for these animals.
Right,
vet bills are expensive here. Food is expensive. Care is expensive. But
I have 5 dogs and 5 cats.
Okay,
so I know
you win.
Yes, no, I know. It's cray.
Yeah, but you would do anything for them.
I draw the line sometimes, but yeah. If I follow, I follow.
And so this is me, and this is reflective of, I guess, part of the work that I try and do and want to do in Hong Kong. So going back to that COVID situation, we had, that realization, what should I do? So I started this organization. It's called the Hong Kong Animal and Protection Organization, HK-ALPO. And the goal behind it is to get like-minded individuals, be they lawyers, law students, whoever, just to band together and start thinking about the problems in Hong Kong related to animals. And a lot of the issues stem from and are directed against companion animals.
Okay.
And so this is my way of sort of giving companion animals a nod.
Okay. So that's what you're focusing on, is on companion animals.
Companion animals and wildlife.
Oh, okay.
So there are two sort of, two veins. But the companion animal stuff is a really big problem in Hong Kong. And I think it's really down to mindset and exposure. So I think the latest statistics was 9% of households in Hong Kong have pets, 5% dogs, 4% cats. And so you're talking about a huge population, a huge number of people who just don't interact with animals on a daily basis.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, we go up, walking along Bowen Road or along the Morning Trail, and you see people with their dogs, and to me, as soon as I see a dog, I have to touch it.
Right.
I have to go close to it. I have to do something. Whereas you see children and just even adults, they will see a dog coming and they will run away.
Yeah.
They will scream. So to me, it's that sort of, we need people to start realizing that animals aren't, big and scary. And just treat them normally. So, and I think that is the reason why we have so much animal cruelty in Hong Kong, and it's a poison in Hong Kong.
Do you think Hong Kong is worse than other places? I'm from Quebec, Montreal, Canada, Quebec. So you'd think, there are breeders out there who just do it really grossly, and there's animal abuse. And from the law perspective, how do you connect animal abuse to child abuse or human violence, or is there a connection that you know of?
Yeah, I mean, I know of studies which have said people who have committed crimes or, cruelty acts against animals are likely to thereafter commit other acts against, say, people.
People, yeah.
I think there is a line, I'm not a psychologist or a But I know there is a line
Sure.
that has been said. But it's not even that. I think it's the fact that people think it's okay to commit these acts of cruelty to animals,
Right.
which baffles me. And in Hong Kong, you see it all too often. It's not just cats and dogs and rabbits. You're talking about wild pigs in Hong Kong being slashed open, talking about pigeons being stabbed with pencils and whatever through their eyes. It's incredible. It just seems like no animal gets any recognition or respect, which is baffling, and that really needs to change.
So professionally, how much of your training has been to understand? So, for example, I've done work in forensic accounting.
Yep.
And one of the things that comes up is that people who break the law and in terms of white collar crime usually do it because there's a kind of a dynamic where they think they can get away with it, and whatever that psychology is. So the forensic accountants that I spoke with, and some of them were from the legal profession and some weren't, part of their job was to understand human motivation towards whatever it is. Right?
Sure.
So in terms of your professional training, how much of where you're coming from, if you are to represent animals who don't have a voice or anything, so how much of your understanding, how do you tackle the psychological, motivational, whatever thing that people will go out and be cruel? Then you're just like, well, wait a second, let's deal. So how do you tackle that problem?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And it's all down to mindset. It's just the mindset of people needs to change in Hong Kong. I think, unfortunately, animals under the law, they're classified as property, so they're objects. So if you lose your iPhone, you're going, I need to buy a new iPhone. Right. If you lose your cat, the law's going to treat that like property. Yeah. So you'll get compensation as to what the animal is worth, but an animal is so much more. I mean, you have a life with this living, feeling being. So how do you put a price on that? And that's something that I have yet to figure out, and I don't know how the courts are going to either, because it's never been asked before.
Yeah, but it's also super huge. So
it's super huge. But so it's changing mindset. I think if people can start considering animals to be more than just things,
right.
They're living creatures capable of feeling pain, pleasure, they need love and attention, then maybe people will go, wait, I see a pigeon. Maybe I won't stab him in the face because he's going to hurt.
Right. I had Paul Watson. I don't know if you've heard of Paul Watson, but his approach to conservation and is very, very forceful, and I think extremely needed. He has a clear understanding of where the edge is in terms of the law. And so he understands that there are boundaries that that the law either you can use to your advantage or not or whatever. So this is how I ask questions. I go meander for 1,000 minutes.
Great. It's great.
And then you should figure out what I'm asking.
You should be a lawyer.
Dare you, sir. Them fighting words. So what is your frame of reference when you look out into Hong Kong and you go, oh, it's really bad here. But compared to what? Like compared to New Zealand, like what is your baseline?
Yeah. I guess the baseline is 0. I mean, if you could get 0 acts of cruelty, then that would be great. So my baseline is there should be none. Okay. But if I'm comparing it to different countries, then I think Hong Kong is very far behind, is very archaic in terms of how it treats animals and how the law treats animals. We have legislation in place, the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Ordinance. It's 70 years old. Right. It hasn't been changed. Yeah. The government had asked for a consultation as to, what we should include, and amazing organizations and amazing animal welfare specialists have made submissions. Our organization made submissions, but nothing's been done yet. Right. So we just wait. But yeah, it's a very lackluster legal system in Hong Kong when we're talking about animals.
Okay.
Some things are taken very seriously in Hong Kong. I mean, the current political climate, you already know some things you just do not do in Hong Kong because you will face severe consequences.
Sure.
Drug trafficking is always serious in Hong Kong, and so it should be. Offences against people, same. But offences against animals is just not regarded as important enough.
Yeah.
And so that's just a sort of cyclical issue because one case happens, he may get sentenced to XYZ, a fine.
Mm-hmm.
So the next person that comes along and goes, oh, I'm just going to get a fine. So what?
Yeah.
And that builds the problem because more of these cases happen. The fines or the sentences imposed are low. There's no deterrence. Right. And so they're just going to keep doing it. So in terms of Hong Kong, it's very behind compared to other countries such as the UK, Australia, New Zealand in terms of animal welfare and the way the courts deal with animal cruelty, which is I think where things need to change as well.
Okay, and is that something you're tackling?
Directly? Yeah. So that's one of the goals of the organisation. So it's to ensure that those amendments that we suggested, such as, we want to introduce a duty of care. So at the moment, animal cruelty is sort of after the fact. An animal has to suffer before anything can be done. And that's very backwards thinking. I mean, you can't stop someone from committing a horrendous act towards an animal until it's been done. So part of the amendments are to introduce this duty of care. So people who are in charge of or take control of animals have a duty to ensure that their welfare is met. And if the standards drop, they'll be liable.
Is there something like that exists in other spheres of people? What's that? You
mean in Hong Kong?
Yeah, well, just like how, like if you could say, well, for example, if you have a child, you have a duty of care. Like, is there a kind of parallel that you could present?
Yeah, a child is possibly the best example. I mean, here's a human being who's totally dependent on those who look after them. If the people, let's say mum and dad or the nanny or whoever, fail to do so or put that life in harm, the law steps in and goes, you're not doing the right thing.
Got it.
Whereas in the world of animals, they wait until the dog's been kicked
after the fact.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah. So what is the URL so people can find out about it?
www.HK-ALPO.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Alpo a brand in New Zealand?
It could be.
Really? Because I think in Canada, I believe Alpo is a brand of dog food.
Is that right?
Yeah. So when you said HK-ALPO, I was like, is he selling the dog food? I don't know. Yeah, okay. Why don't you describe the next photograph? Because it's cute. It's pretty sweet.
It's a very cute photo. So here we have a blue bucket centered in the middle. Within the bucket, there's a large Ziploc, Snaploc plastic bag. Inside that bag, there's a yellow fish. And from the outside, the left-hand side, looking into the bucket, there's the head of my grey cat, Alien. And she's looking curiously into the bucket to see what's going on.
Okay, spoiler alert or not? Does the fish survive?
The fish survives.
Oh, nice.
The fish survives. Yeah. The story of this fish is incredible. So a former colleague had, she believed in feng shui. And so she got this feng shui master to come in into her room. And the feng shui master said, have some running water, have some gold objects, something animate, something alive in this corner, and it'll bring you, good fortune, luck, boyfriends, whatever you want. And so she followed. And so she bought a tank, all the equipment, and 8 golden cichlids. So they're African cichlids. And she kept them in their room. The problem was she had no idea how to take care of fish. So she had no idea, about water changes, nitrates, food, things like that. And she came into my room once and she said, my fish are dying. I said, well, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
How are you looking after them? Oh, I don't know how. But you've got these creatures in your rooms.
Yeah.
Because the feng shui master told me to.
Sure, but just basically clueless.
Clueless.
Yeah.
And I guess that goes back to just the mindset of people. They're things. So why should I look after them? If they bring me luck and fortune, then I'm doing well. In the end, I decided to take the fish. Okay. So I brought them into my room, and the fish seemed to thrive. I mean, we had a fewer deaths until one day I was cleaning the tank and I found a lot of skeletons there, and I thought, what the hell's going on? And I realized that this yellow fish, was eating the rest.
Oh, okay.
So he was the alpha male.
Right.
He wanted the tank to himself. So we named him Sushi, and Sushi has been with us for 3 years now, and he's in my room still.
Okay.
He's a good luck charm for me. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as HK-ALPO is concerned, what would you say, local to Hong Kong, and what is transferable to other cities, other societies? Because mindset in everything is everything, right? So like in service leadership is all about your mindset. So mindset is all. So do you think you need to have grown up with animals in order to have that sensitivity? Granted, we can all learn, and everybody can learn, but some people, it just, that doesn't hit a nerve. Do you like durian?
I like durian. Yeah.
Right? I'm trying to think of what is it that doesn't really do it for you.
Clowns.
I
hate clowns.
You hate clowns? Why are you looking at? You look at me with those eyes. Yeah. Okay, that comes out of my mouth is clownish. But, today I'm not dressed like a clown.
You're good today. You're good.
But it's just this thing that we can't all be sensitive to everything.
Of course.
So the law is there in a way to paint the boundaries of behavior, right? So how do you approach regulating behavior on what is really a difficult topic for some people who are just like, well, I couldn't care less, So what do you think?
And I think that's it. The current attitude is, I couldn't care less, but how things would get better is when people go, well, I do care and I should care. And so if you're walking past a dog and you can see he's in the middle of summer Hong Kong, he's tied up, there's no water, he's got a tight leash around his neck, owners know where to be seen. Do something, or say something, ring the SPCA, ring AFCD, whoever it is, but speak out for them. If you see someone abusing an animal, committing acts of cruelty, stop them, call the police, call SPCA, just do something. I think when everyone starts to do a little bit, then collectively we can all change.
Sure. And I wonder what the incidence of, and if there's even data on this, like the incidence of animal cruelty in the population. Are there records like that you've come across? Yeah,
there are, and the figures are quite shocking.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is we're going very ballpark. I won't be super specific, but I think the latest ones that I saw was in 2019. There were about 1,200 cases of animal cruelty in Hong Kong. And of those 1,200, I think less than 10% actually got prosecuted.
Okay.
So you've got 100 plus cases going to courts, facing, the criminal justice system, being penalized and creating a deterrent effect. But you've got a huge number that just go unchallenged, unprosecuted, unaccounted for. And it's shocking.
So how is that something that goes before a judge in terms of how that's looked at, or how I know nothing.
Yeah.
Explain.
So I think what those figures show is that the investigation of animal cruelty just isn't good enough.
Right.
Because the police have to investigate, or customs or whoever. They have to investigate. In Hong Kong, animal cruelty is a 6-month summary offence. So you have 6 months from finding the act of cruelty to bringing a charge.
Okay.
So it's a finite time. If you go 6 months and 1 day, you cannot bring a charge against someone.
Huh.
So that's part of the problem with
What's the logic?
It's reflective of how the law perceives animal cruelty.
Oh.
So this is it's called a summary offence. It's akin to jaywalking, very petty crimes. Other more serious crimes, your big rape, murder, things like that. They're tried indictably, so it means there's no time frame in which they can bring a charge. But animal cruelty falls in this strange lacuna that seems to be you're committing horrendous acts against a living thing, but we'll give you that 6-month time period. And the issue is you've got investigation hindrances. Like you're not going to find too many people red-handed, committing these acts. If you see a cat on the street with a chopped tail, you're going to have to figure out who did that, how, why, things like that. And for me, and this may be a very unfair judgment on how the police work here, but I think they just don't prioritize animal cases.
Sure.
And so it gets to that stage where they go, it's too difficult, and we'll just leave it.
Yeah, or I think in some cases it's kind of like, and I don't know, I don't deal with the police, but I wonder if it's more like, well, in terms of how we can do our jobs, as far as investigating, in terms of resources, in terms of what we can actually do, maybe because of the way the laws are, the legal system is set up, they know already, well, this won't go anywhere. This isn't worth the effort.
Yep.
One of the dogs that we adopted or rescued was rescued from a litter where this woman had this litter with her in the house, and she was chopping off their paws supposedly for Chinese medicine.
Yeah, of course.
So the one of the puppies was found in a stream. She chopped with like 3 paws chopped off, and the puppy was chucked into a stream, and somehow it was saved. And one of the puppies that we saved was actually from that litter. So in that particular case, I don't even think even back then there was this move to, hey, let's get the police involved. And even from what you're saying, well, okay, the worst punishment she would have gotten, or she at this point, what is the punishment in that case?
I mean, they're very fact specific, but I mean, the courts aren't using their full powers. So they could go to jail, but jail sentences are uncommon. And when they do go to jail, they're very short. So for someone like that, she could get away with a fine. Right. Depending on the judge and depending on the court, which is incredible to think. But that's the reality.
Right. Okay. Pleasant topic.
Yeah.
This fish is still alive, though.
Yeah, so she's still alive.
You say kicklid?
Yeah, is it kicklid?
Did you say kicklid?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, it's fine. Just see your outrageous New Zealand accent.
It's tough to hear.
How long have you been in Hong Kong?
I was born in Hong Kong.
You're born in Hong Kong?
Born in Hong Kong.
Which hospital?
Sanatorium.
Okay.
Happy Valley.
Wow.
Yeah, born in Hong Kong, grew up here until I was 5, and then moved to New Zealand, came back 2014.
Okay.
So I've been here 7 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we got here 2003. Originally from Montreal. I learned as cichlid. But I'm a Canadian, I'm a very French person, It is all incorrect, It is not right.
Cichlid sounds good, eh?
Nah, I don't know, man. I follow you. You're the English. Let's go to the next picture, which is so sweet. This image is very different from the others. One of these things, not like the others. You want to describe it? I think you're pretty good at it. So go ahead. It's so paint a picture with words, my friend.
So this is this was taken at Ocean Park. I remember because it was my birthday, and I like to go to Ocean Park for my birthday because I like seeing animals.
Yeah.
So my fiance took me to Ocean Park, and this is a sort of shadow silhouette of her taking a photo in front of the jellyfish tank, and you can see, the light from the top. The tank is a darker blue, and these, luminescent jellyfish just swimming across the screen. So
It's an excellent image.
yeah, I really like this
I
image.
dare say it could be a stock photo image. I'm just joking.
It's going on Shutterstock today. Yeah.
No, it's really good. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So yeah, like you're clearly, it's somebody standing in front of an aquarium making a photograph of these jellyfish going across from bottom left to top right, I guess in terms of the direction.
Yep.
You have this kind of like unreal, ethereal, topaz, turquoise, whatever, light source above, which is in almost a perfect circle. And the color balance in the light, because photography is ultimately capturing light, is really nice because in a sense, the highlights of the light on your fiance's arm, her hair, also really reveals, the shape of just the form and function. You think of black and white photographs, they tend to be more reduced to kind of shapes. And in this image, hopefully people can go on the website or on the YouTube channel or whatever to see it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful image.
Thank you very much.
So are you in the process of capturing animal cruelty? Is she knocking on the glass and shocking the
She knows much better than that. I think this is...
I'm just being a total ass. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, she'll find you. She'll
find me down and me.
No, this is just
just beautiful.
I mean, we look through the world. We look at the world through our phones these days.
Okay, yeah.
And so this was just me taking a photo of her looking at jellyfish via her phone rather than at the jellyfish itself.
I love it.
But yeah, I like it. I like Ocean Park. I like seeing animals, and we try to go every year for my birthday. So
you see, you are bent. You're totally bent. You're not a normal kind of person. You're not run of the mill.
I'm very strange.
Do you think it's a New Zealand thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. We're all strange there.
No, but so like having been there, okay, so clearly we get impacted by our environment.
Yeah.
So, somebody who grew up as I did in the winter of Montreal and like the intensity of it. Winter in Canada is something that can kill you. It's something you survive. It's like full on, right? New Zealand, wide open space, the incredible landscape, its aliveness is just so, really, it's almost like overwhelming, because it's so big. You think about like, of all the things you could have chosen while you're locked in because of COVID, where do you put your attention? You put your attention to helping animals, companion animals. What have you achieved in the past few months that you can sort of share with other people to kind of join your movement?
Yeah. So one of the things that we want to do is just keep highlighting different areas of animal welfare, which we find in the news. So we try and report on cases of animal law, animal welfare, wildlife crime that's happening around the world. So we can see what's going on in the world and just judge that against how Hong Kong is. So that's something that's been crucial and important to me in terms of this organization, getting people reading about animal news and then thinking and challenging themselves, okay, how does that fit in terms of the Hong Kong scale? Is that sentence in Australia going to be reflective of what they would get here? Do we get, that many pangolin scales coming through Hong Kong, or is this case completely different? So that's one of the things. And the second thing is, well, and a more personal mission of mine is to take more animal cases to court.
Wow.
And that's something that I would like to do, but it's difficult. It's very difficult because, people just don't want to, because going to court is expensive.
Okay.
And it's troublesome, it's laborsome. But I hope people out there reading these news articles, learning about how, animals feel and are, they'll go, oh, actually, no, I want to do something on behalf of my cat, my dog, this organization. So I'd like more cases to go through court, and through that court process, I'd like the courts to start punishing people more rigorously and more reflective of what their crimes are.
Okay.
I know Andrea's been on your show, and she does great work for the Hong Kong Shark Foundation. And Hong Kong's the wildlife hub. Illegal wildlife trafficking through Hong Kong is just mad.
Yeah.
And the sentences which these criminals are getting really pale in insignificance compared to what the value of these wildlife products are.
Right.
So you've got, tons of pangolin scales coming through Hong Kong. They're getting caught, and the guy's getting a slap on the wrist sentence. Sure, he goes to jail, but is he going to do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could have one thing change within the next 6 months of all the things that could get all of us moved forward or whatever, what is there one strategically important thing that stands out, or is it all kind of like we have to move everything forward a little bit?
I think it starts with how the law treats animals. I think when the law recognizes that animals aren't things,
Right.
they're living and breathing, then you can understand and you can sort of rationalize why you would impose a serious sentence.
So somebody who hasn't studied law and isn't a barrister and all that stuff, how does the law do that? How do you get the law to all of a sudden go, oh, okay, these bits of property are not property anymore, they're beings. So how does that happen?
Taking more cases to court.
Oh, really? It's purely...
Challenging what the status quo is at the moment. So there's a wonderful barrister and professor at Hong Kong U, Amanda Whitford.
Okay.
She's one of our project managers for ALPO.
Mm-hmm.
She's, I would say, the inspiration behind the work that I want to do. She's incredible. And one of the things that she's started is wildlife victim impact statements.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, in criminal law, you have victim impact statements. So you've got an aggrieved mother who's reading to the court how the crime by this person has affected her.
Okay.
And the court takes that into account. Yeah, it's extremely powerful because it's so raw.
Yeah.
So what Amanda's done, which is just incredible, and I think she's done it with Kaduri Farm. So she's created these wildlife victim impact statements in terms of illegal wildlife trade. So when a court has a case before it in relation to certain wildlife, then when he's sentencing, he's going to read this wildlife victim impact statement, which will demonstrate, what the species is. Is it CITES 1, Appendix 1, 2, 3? How many are left? What does the removal of that species do to the ecology, environment from where it came from? Does it have any, other things that we should be aware of when we're considering sentencing? Because until then, it's just, you've got 20 tons of pangolin scales. Okay. It's 20 tons, but
there's no frame of reference to understand the severity.
How many animals is that? How do you get the scales? CITES 1, things like that. So that's something that's really powerful, and I think will help.
Yeah. Okay, look, man, we've been here for almost an hour, and it's been really great. You're delightfully bent. I love it.
That'll be my tagline now.
No, it's like you don't have to ever use it or hear it again. I love this kind of work. I love that you're doing this and that you're motivated. So in the next 6 months or whatever, in terms of how would you like people to come to you and support you? Is it just to visit the website? Is it like how to get involved?
Yeah. One of the easiest ways is just to sign up as a member on our website. Okay. Follow us on social media. You'll stay up to date with the things that we do. On our website, we've got an events page. We've got, blogs and news people can read about. But also just read the news and just think about these animal welfare issues. And hopefully we can get this this organization to a place of some sort of authority where we can start really making changes.
Sure.
Because that's the end goal. We want positive changes for animals and animal welfare.
So one of the things that my client and I talk a lot about is like, how do you make, for example, like in this office, right? How do you make character and care and values important? So what he did at DHL was he created this global network where character was important. And so I was like, well, how did you do it? And he goes, simple. We just talked about it.
Yeah.
So if you don't talk about it, it's not going to be in mind.
Exactly.
So, with Shark Rescue, my thing was to raise awareness. So are there resources on your site for people to learn and talk about beyond just the clips and the articles? Or?
Yeah. So one of the things we'd like to start this year is just to get some of our members into Zoom lobbies and just talk about some of the issues that are going on. If they have questions about animal welfare, things that are happening in Hong Kong, just sort of getting them together in the same space where you can just sort of bounce ideas off, bounce questions off, and hopefully from there you can disseminate that information. It's all about education and awareness.
Kim McCoy, you're the man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Great.
This is cool.
I love it, man. Thank you. Here, cool. Let's bump elbows. And that is a wrap.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.